You probably think humans domesticated cats, but what if the opposite happened? What if cats didn't become our pets? What if we became theirs? For most of human history, humans believed they were the ones making all the decisions. They decided where to settle. They decided what to grow. They decided which animals to keep close and which to drive away. Humans looked at the natural world and saw resources to control. They domesticated wolves into dogs. They brought goats and cattle into their settlements. Every animal that lived alongside humans did so because humans chose it, except one. One animal looked at human civilization, studied it carefully from a distance, decided it was useful, and moved in entirely on its own terms. Humans didn't recruit it. Humans didn't train it. Humans didn't even fully understand what was happening until thousands of years later. And that animal has been managing the relationship ever since. The cat didn't get domesticated. The cat domesticated us. And the strangest part is that it's still happening right now, inside your home, probably while you're watching this. To understand how a small desert predator quietly took control of one of the most intelligent species on Earth, you have to go back to the moment humans made their biggest mistake. Not a mistake in the dramatic sense, just the kind of mistake that seems like a brilliant idea until something else figures out how to exploit it. Around 10,000 years ago, humans began farming. Instead of constantly moving across enormous landscapes hunting and gathering, people started staying put. They built permanent villages, they grew crops, they stored food, and for the first time in human history, people began accumulating massive quantities of grain in one location, enough to last through winter, enough to feed entire communities. That grain changed everything because grain attracted rodents. Mice first, then rats. Entire populations of them, multiplying quietly inside walls, inside storage rooms, inside everything humans had worked to build. For ancient farmers, this wasn't a minor annoyance. A serious rodent infestation could destroy the food reserves that entire families depended on to survive the winter. Ancient humans had built their new civilized lives on a foundation that small animals could quietly eat through, and somewhere nearby, wild cats were paying very close attention. The wild ancestors of modern house cats likely started hanging around early farming communities in the Fertile Crescent around 8,000 years ago, where they settled into what researchers describe as a mutually beneficial relationship as humans-rodent patrol. But here is the part scientists find genuinely remarkable. It wasn't that humans captured cats and brought them inside. People more or less allowed cats to domesticate themselves. Think about what that means. Every other domesticated animal in human history was shaped by human choice. Humans selected wolves that were calmer, more obedient, better at cooperating. Humans bred cattle for size, goats for milk, horses for strength. Humans drove domestication deliberately. Cats just showed up. The boldest ones crept closer to human settlements. Not all at once. Slowly, cautiously, testing how close they could get before humans drove them away. The calmer cats, the ones less frightened by human activity, gained access to unlimited prey. The fearful ones stayed in the desert and competed for scarcer food. Generation after generation, cats lived alongside humans for thousands of years before anything resembling true domestication occurred. And even then, their genes changed very little from those of wild cats. They didn't become domesticated animals. They became very comfortable wild animals living inside human territory. But the relationship didn't stay simple for long, because once cats proved useful, humans started doing something that would change everything. They started moving cats around. Cats seemingly related to domesticated cats moved into southeastern Europe from Turkey alongside farmers around 6,000 years ago. Then sailors discovered something that made cats even more valuable than they already were. Ancient ships carrying grain across the Mediterranean were infested with rats. Rats that destroyed cargo. Rats that spread disease. Rats that could ruin an entire voyage. Cats solved that problem immediately. Especially prized as mousers on ships, cats traveled with humans around the globe. A small predator that had walked into human settlements under its own power was now crossing entire oceans in human boats. The cats hadn't planned any of this. They were just following food. But the result was that cats spread across the ancient world faster than almost any other animal. Then Egypt happened. Egyptians treasured cats' protectiveness and independence, and saw traits of their gods in cats. Cats were sometimes mummified lovingly next to their deceased owners. Bastet, a feline-headed goddess, was worshipped as a protector and as a deity of pregnancy and childbirth. Depictions of cats as beloved, jewelry-wearing family members appear in Egypt around 3,500 years ago. An animal that had wandered into human settlements to hunt mice had somehow become a god. And cats, characteristically, showed no sign of finding any of this surprising. But here is where the story shifts from ancient history into something more unsettling. Because cats didn't just find a way into human civilization. Over thousands of years, they developed a specific set of tools to keep humans attached to them. And those tools work just as well today as they did in ancient Egypt. Start with the sound. Adult wild cats rarely meow at each other. Domestic cats developed this vocalization specifically to communicate with humans. The sound of their meows evolved during domestication to more effectively reach us. Scientists have found that the wild cat's call sounds more urgent and demanding compared to the domestic cat's far more pleasing version. These shorter, higher-pitched sounds are more agreeable to our auditory system, perhaps because young humans have high-pitched voices and domestic cats evolved accordingly to earn human favor. Your cat is not talking to you the way it would talk to another cat. It developed an entirely separate communication system designed specifically to get responses from humans, and it works. Then there is the purr. Cats purr in a frequency range of 20 to 140 Hz, which overlaps with frequencies used in physical therapy and tissue healing. Research has found that purring can have measurable effects on both cats and humans, including promoting bone healing, lowering blood pressure, and easing pain perception. A cat sitting on your chest isn't just resting. It may be generating vibrations that your body responds to physiologically. You feel calmer, you feel better. Your brain associates the cat with that feeling. But cats took it further than simple purring. When cats want something, they purr extra loudly. Scientists digitally compared the qualities of two types of purrs and discovered that the major difference is that the insistent purr contains a component very similar to the sound of a human baby crying. The same sound that triggers the deepest caregiving instincts in the human brain. The sound that makes it almost neurologically impossible for most people to ignore. Your cat has been doing this for thousands of years, not because it planned it, because the cats that did it got fed first. Cats' interactions with humans activate reward pathways in the brain associated with dopamine and oxytocin release, particularly when their affection is rare or unpredictable. That is not an accident. It is one of the most effective behavioral strategies in nature. Unpredictable rewards create stronger attachment than consistent ones. A cat that sometimes ignores you and occasionally chooses you is more neurologically compelling than one that is always available. Humans have known this about gambling for centuries. Cats figured it out about humans thousands of years ago. A cat's trust isn't automatic. It must be earned. But once given, it is reinforced by the same chemical that bonds human parents, partners, and friends. So when your cat finally settles on your lap after 3 days of complete indifference, your brain doesn't experience mild satisfaction. It experiences a small flood of the same bonding chemistry that connects human beings to the people they love most. The cat didn't earn your trust. It engineered it. And we cooperated completely. Humans who allowed cats into their homes had better protected food supplies. Their stored grain survived. Their families had more to eat. The humans most tolerant of cats passed that tolerance to their children. Evolution quietly selected for the humans who responded best to what cats were offering. Over thousands of years, humans didn't just accept cats. They became neurologically suited to living with them. The cat distribution system ran in both directions. Today, there are roughly 600 million domestic cats living alongside humans across the planet. Humans spend extraordinary amounts of money on them. Heated beds, automated feeders, furniture designed entirely around what cats prefer, veterinary care that would have seemed extravagant even for humans not that long ago. Entire industries built around a small desert predator that walked uninvited into the first farming villages and simply never left. And the cats themselves remain almost unchanged. Their genes have changed very little from those of wild cats. They can still survive without humans if they need to. Many feral cats return to behaviors nearly identical to wild ancestors within a single generation. Domestication for cats may still be genuinely incomplete after thousands of years. Dogs joined human civilization as partners. Cats joined it as strategies. They found a civilization being built, noticed it was a better arrangement than anything the desert offered, and made themselves indispensable through a combination of genuine usefulness and biological manipulation so subtle that humans spent thousands of years assuming they were the ones who made the choice. And tonight, somewhere in your home, a descendant of those ancient desert hunters is going to do something completely ordinary. It might sit near you but slightly out of reach. It might make a sound that lands somewhere between contentment and need. It might, after a long silence, choose to settle close to you for reasons you will never fully understand. And your brain, shaped over thousands of years to respond to exactly this, will feel something very close to warmth. The cat didn't get domesticated. It just found a better place to be wild.